A 10-year-old black boy amazes Judge Frank Caprio. The verdict will leave you in tears. What I'm about to share is Judge Frank Caprio's most heartbreaking case that left the entire courtroom in tears and changed everyone's understanding of courage. A 10-year-old black boy named Marcus Johnson stands before the judge defending his family's unpaid traffic fines. But when Judge Caprio discovers why this brave little boy is speaking for his parents, his response becomes the most beautiful moment of compassion you'll ever witness. I'm warning you, Marcus's story will break your heart, but Judge Caprio's incredible response will restore your faith in humanity and show you what true justice looks like when it's guided by love. When this fearless child faces the American legal system to protect his family, what happens next becomes unforgettable. But before I share this life-changing story, please hit that subscribe button, because this tale of courage and compassion deserves to reach everyone. And I'm curious, where are you watching this from right now? Are you on your phone during lunch break, watching on your laptop at home, or maybe listening while you're driving? Have you ever seen a child show more courage than most adults? Drop a comment below and tell me your city and how you're watching. Because Marcus's bravery will inspire people everywhere, whether you're in Chicago, Toronto, or anywhere in between. This isn't just a courtroom case. This is a story about family sacrifice and the power of love to overcome fear. What happens in the next 30 minutes will show you what real courage looks like in the face of uncertainty. It's a quiet Tuesday morning in March at Providence Municipal Court, and Judge Frank Caprio is reviewing his morning docket when he notices an unusual case that immediately captures his attention. The Johnson family traffic violations with unpaid fines totaling $420, with a note indicating the defendants face financial hardship. The courtroom has its familiar atmosphere. Defendants waiting nervously for their cases, attorneys shuffling through paperwork, and court staff preparing for another day under Judge Caprio's compassionate leadership. At exactly 10:45 a.m., the bailiff calls the case. And what happens next stops everyone in their tracks. Instead of adults approaching the defendant's table, a tiny figure steps forward. A 10-year-old black boy with a bright smile, wearing a carefully pressed school uniform, clutching a manila folder against his chest like it contains the most precious documents in the world. Behind him, moving hesitantly, are his parents, Angela and Robert Johnson. Angela, a woman in her 30s, stays close to the wall as if trying to become invisible, while Robert keeps his eyes downcast, both clearly overwhelmed by being in this official courtroom setting. But it's Marcus who draws everyone's attention. Despite his small stature, he walks with determination toward Judge Caprio's bench, his chin raised with a courage that seems impossible for someone so young. In his folder, he carries carefully organized documents, handwritten notes, and something even more important, the desperate hope of helping his family through their struggles. The Johnson family is here because over the past year, Robert has accumulated multiple traffic violations while working multiple jobs to support his family. Expired registration, broken tail light, and parking violations. Each citation represents another financial burden they can barely afford, another obstacle in their journey to stability. And friends, before I show you this incredible display of childhood courage, let me ask you something. Have you ever witnessed a child step up when adults couldn't? Have you seen someone so young take on such enormous responsibility? The Johnson family. The court clerk announces, consulting his files with a puzzled expression as he sees the young boy step forward. Marcus walks confidently to the front while his parents remain several feet behind, clearly overwhelmed by the formal legal proceedings they find intimidating. Judge Caprio looks down from his bench with those compassionate eyes that have seen every kind of human struggle. But the sight of this determined child advocating for his family creates an entirely new kind of courtroom moment. "Good morning," Judge Caprio says gently, his voice automatically softening for the young defendant, his naturally sweet disposition immediately showing. "What's your name, young man?" "My name is Marcus Elijah Johnson, Your Honor," he says clearly, his voice strong despite his youth. "I am here to speak for my parents, Angela and Robert Johnson." Judge Caprio sets down his paperwork completely, his compassionate nature immediately drawn to this extraordinary situation unfolding before him. His generous spirit recognizes something special happening. "Marcus, how old are you?" "I am 10 years. "Oh, Your Honor, I'll be 11 in 2 months. The courtroom falls into a respectful silence. Everyone present realizes they're witnessing something unprecedented. A child taking responsibility for his family's legal troubles with a maturity that seems beyond his years. "Marcus, can you tell me why you're speaking for your parents today?" Marcus takes a deep breath, clutching his folder tighter. "Your Honor, my mom and dad work very hard, but they're scared about coming to court. They worry that they might say something wrong that could make things worse for our family. I study hard in school, and I understand these things better, so I came to help them." Judge Caprio's expression softens even more as he recognizes the profound love and responsibility this child has taken upon himself. His naturally sympathetic personality is deeply moved by what he's witnessing. "I see. And you understand these traffic violations your father received?" "Yes, Your Honor. My dad works at the warehouse from 5/8 in the morning until 2/8 in the afternoon, and then he works security at the mall from 4 hours until midnight. My mom cleans offices early in the morning and takes care of elderly people during the day." The entire courtroom watches in amazement as this 10-year-old boy presents his case with the thoroughness of an experienced attorney, organizing documents and explaining his family's situation with clarity and love. "Marcus, these preparations you've made are very impressive. Did someone help you organize all this?" "No, Your Honor. My teacher, Mr. Davis, taught me about being responsible and preparing for important things. I stayed after school for 3 days to make sure everything was perfect for my family." Judge Caprio glances at Angela and Robert, who stand watching their son with a mixture of pride and anxiety, unable to fully participate, but trusting their child completely. Judge Caprio, with his naturally generous and compassionate spirit, stands from his bench and walks around to the front, not with authority this time, but with the gentle concern of someone who recognizes extraordinary courage when he sees it. "Marcus, I want you to know that what you're doing for your family takes tremendous bravery. Can you help me understand why your parents are so concerned about being in court?" Marcus looks back at his parents, his eyes filling with love and protectiveness that seems impossibly mature for his age. "Your Honor, my mum and dad have been working so hard to take care of me and my little sister, Jasmine. But sometimes when you're working 3 jobs, it's hard to keep track of everything. Dad's car needed repairs, and we had to choose between fixing the taillight and buying groceries." Judge Caprio kneels down to Marcus's eye level, his voice becoming even more gentle, his sweet nature showing through completely. "Marcus, I can see your family has been going through some tough times." "Yes, Your Honor, but we never give up. My parents always tell me that being strong means doing your best even when things are hard." Marcus reaches into his folder and pulls out several documents. "Here is my dad's work schedule, and here are papers showing he's been working at both jobs for over a year. And this is my report card. I get good grades because my parents always tell me education is the most important thing." Judge Caprio accepts the documents with reverent hands, his compassionate nature deeply touched by this child's dedication to his family. "Marcus, you said your parents work 3 jobs between them. That's incredible. What do you want to be when you grow up?" Marcus's face lights up for the first time during the proceedings. I want to be a lawyer, Your Honor, so I can help other families who are working hard but sometimes need help understanding things. I want to make sure no other kid has to come to court to speak for their parents because they're scared. The emotional impact of this statement ripples through the courtroom as everyone realizes they're witnessing not just courage, but the birth of a future advocate for justice. Judge Caprio takes a moment to compose himself, clearly moved by Marcus's presentation and the weight of responsibility this family has placed on their 10-year-old son's shoulders. When he speaks, his voice carries the wisdom of 30 years on the bench and his naturally generous heart that has always guided his decisions. Marcus, I want you to turn around and look at your parents. Marcus turns to see Angela and Robert watching with anxious love, their entire hope resting in their son's small hands. Now I want you to tell them that they don't need to be afraid in my courtroom. Tell them that Judge Caprio says they are welcome here and that I can see they are good parents who are raising an exceptional young man. Marcus's eyes widened. With surprise and relief, he turns to his parents and speaks, his voice carrying the judge's message of acceptance. As his words reach them, Angela begins to cry softly, and Robert places a protective hand on his son's shoulder. Judge Caprio, his sweet and sympathetic nature shining through, addresses the family directly. Mr. and Mrs. Johnson, please come forward. Hesitantly, still holding on to Marcus, the parents approach the bench. I want Marcus to tell you that I understand how hard you've been working multiple jobs, raising children who get good grades and want to become lawyers. That's exactly the kind of family that makes our community stronger. Judge Caprio returns to his bench, but his demeanor has completely transformed from judge to protector, his generous spirit taking over. Marcus, I'm not just dismissing these traffic violations. I'm going to do something special. He picks up his phone right there in open court. Hello, this is Judge Frank Caprio. I have the Johnson family in my courtroom, and I want to help connect them with some community resources. This family represents everything that's right about hard work and dedication. Judge Caprio's compassionate nature and generous heart lead him to make an unprecedented decision. Marcus, I want you to come back to my courtroom in 1 year, not for any legal trouble, but to show me your report card and tell me how your family is doing. Will you promise me that? Marcus nods eagerly, his fear completely replaced by hope. Yes, Your Honor, we will come back to show you we are doing our best. You already are doing your best, Marcus. You already are. The courtroom erupts in sustained applause as the Johnson family embraces, their struggle transformed into a moment of hope and possibility. What happens immediately after Marcus's court appearance becomes one of the most beautiful examples of community support and compassion in action. As the family exits the courtroom, they're approached by several people who had witnessed Marcus's courageous advocacy. Mrs. Rodriguez, an elderly woman who had been waiting for her own case, stops them and offers Angela additional cleaning work. Your son's courage shows what kind of family you are, she says. I want to help. Dr. Thompson, a local physician who happened to be in court for a traffic matter, approaches Robert and offers him a better paying position at his medical office. Anyone who raises a son like Marcus deserves every opportunity to succeed. But the most touching response comes from Mr. Davis, Marcus's teacher, who visits the family that evening. Marcus, Mr. Davis says, I've spoken with the principal and the school counselor. We want to make sure you have extra support for your college preparation. Your dream of becoming a lawyer isn't just possible, it's inevitable. He presents Marcus with a stack of books about law, civics, and American history. These will help you understand how to help other families like yours. 1 year later, exactly as promised, Marcus returns to Judge Caprio's courtroom. But this time, he's not carrying a folder of financial documents. He's carrying report cards, certificates, and photographs that tell the story of a family's successful journey towards stability and hope. Marcus, now 11 and noticeably more confident, approaches the bench with his parents, who no longer hang back in fear, but stand proudly beside their remarkable son. "Good morning, Your Honor," Marcus says with a bright smile. "I kept my promise to come back and show you how we're doing." Judge Caprio beams, his sweet and generous nature evident as he sees the dramatic change in the family's confidence and demeanor. "Marcus, look at you. You look like you've grown 2 feet taller. How has your year been?" "Your Honor, it has been the best year of our lives. My dad got promoted to supervisor at the medical office, and my mum now manages the cleaning crew for 3 office buildings. But most importantly, I made the honor roll every semester." He hands Judge Caprio his report card. Straight A's again, but now with additional achievements. "I was elected student body treasurer, and I started a club called Future Leaders, where kids help other kids with homework and teach them about standing up for what's right." Robert, now confident enough to speak directly to Judge Caprio, steps forward. "Your Honor, I want to thank you. When Marcus came here 1 year ago, we felt lost. Now we feel hopeful." Angela adds, "Marcus teaches us that being scared is okay, but giving up is not. He learned that from watching how kind you were to our family." Marcus pulls out a certificate from his folder. "Your Honor, I received a scholarship to attend a summer program at the local college for students interested in law and public service." Judge Caprio examines the certificate with obvious pride, his compassionate heart swelling with joy. "Marcus, this is incredible. You're only 11. The program director said my essay about helping families was so good they made an exception. I wrote about meeting you and learning that judges can be kind while still being fair." Judge Caprio, moved by the transformation he's witnessing, makes another unprecedented announcement. "Marcus, do you remember what you said you wanted to be when you grew up?" "A lawyer, Your Honor, to help families like mine." "Well, I have something to tell you. The Providence Community Foundation has created a new scholarship specifically for students who want to pursue law while helping their communities. They're calling it the Marcus Johnson Future Advocate Scholarship." Marcus's eyes widened in disbelief. "They named it after me? They named it after you, because you showed everyone that courage isn't about not being afraid. It's about doing what's right for the people you love, even when you are afraid." Judge Caprio addresses the courtroom, which is filled with people who heard Marcus was returning. "Ladies and gentlemen, 1 year ago, a 10-year-old boy taught all of us what it means to have courage, to have love for family, and to never give up on your dreams. Not just surviving hard times, but using those experiences to want to help others." He turns back to Marcus, his generous spirit and sweet nature evident in every word. "You've kept every promise you made in this courtroom, and now life gets to keep the promise it made to your family, that hard work, courage, and dreams can come true." Marcus Johnson's story spread far beyond Providence, becoming a symbol of what's possible when courage meets compassion, when fear is replaced by hope, and when communities embrace families who never give up on their dreams. 2 years after his court appearance, Marcus was invited to speak at the National Youth Leadership Conference, where he addressed a room full of young people with the same poise he had shown in Judge Caprio's courtroom. "When I was 10 years old," Marcus told the conference, "I learned that being brave doesn't mean not being scared. It means protecting the people you love, even when you are scared." His speech received a standing ovation, and several law schools offered him guaranteed admission upon graduating high school. Judge Caprio, who was in the audience that day, later reflected with his characteristic warmth and generosity. "Marcus didn't just defend his family that day in my courtroom. He defended the idea that courage can come from the most unexpected places. Sometimes, a child's love for their family can teach adults what real strength looks like. The Marcus Johnson Future Advocate Scholarship has now helped 15 other young people pursue legal education. Each recipient commits to providing community service and helping families in need. Angela and Robert Johnson now manage their own small business, helping other working families navigate challenges and find resources. Marcus works there on weekends, still advocating for families who remind him of his own journey. Now 13 and in high school, Marcus interns at a local law office during summer breaks, helping families prepare for various legal matters with the same thorough preparation he brought to his own family's case. "Every family I help," Marcus says, "I remember being that scared 10-year-old boy. I want them to know that there are people who care, and that working hard and never giving up really does matter." And friends, Marcus's story reminds us that courage can come in the smallest packages, that families who support each other can overcome incredible challenges, and that sometimes a child's bravery can teach adults what it truly means to be compassionate. Judge Frank Caprio's sweet, generous, and sympathetic nature didn't just follow the law that day, he followed his heart. And in doing so, he showed us all what justice looks like when it's guided by love, compassion, and the belief that everyone deserves a chance to succeed. We all know children who surprise us with their wisdom and strength. Marcus Johnson reminds us that sometimes the smallest voices can make the biggest difference, and that a judge's kindness can change not just one family's life, but inspire an entire community to be better. Thanks for watching. We'd love to know where you're watching from. Tell us in the comments below if this story touched your heart. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe so you never miss the next case. Your support helps us share more powerful stories of justice and compassion.